Today, we're diving into an event that has brought the world right to the edge of a new war in the Middle East. So, let's get right into it. So, February 28th, that's the day. The United States and Israel launched this massive coordinated attack on Iran. And just like that, they kicked off a chain of events that has put, well, pretty much the entire world on high alert. Okay, so this initial strike, the Pentagon gave it a pretty dramatic name. Operation Epic Fury. Let's break down what that actually means. You have to understand, this first wave of attacks was incredibly strategic. We're not just talking about hitting military bases or nuclear sites. No, they went for the very heart of Iran's power structure in Tehran. They hit the residences of the supreme leader and the president. The goal here seems pretty clear, right? They were trying to decapitate the entire regime in one single shocking blow. And what happened right after? Chaos. Basically, a total information blackout. Think about this. Internet connectivity inside Iran just dropped to 4%. That's it. This makes it almost impossible for anyone, including us, to get confirmed reports from inside the country or even to understand how bad the damage really was. But here's where it gets really interesting. Iran didn't just sit back. Their response was incredibly fast and decisive. In a lot of conflicts, you might wait days for retaliation. Not this time. Tehran's counterattack came almost immediately, which tells you one thing. They were prepared. They were ready for this exact scenario. So Iran unleashes Operation True Promise 4. This was a huge, multi-wave assault with ballistic missiles and drones. But here's the really crucial part. They didn't hit Israel. Instead, they went straight for high-value American military targets all across the Middle East. We're talking U.S. bases in 5 different countries, and they even landed a direct hit on the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain. I mean, that's the nerve center of all American naval power in the region. A huge statement. So how did we get here? This wasn't something that just happened out of the blue. You could say the fuse for this explosion was lit well over a year ago. Let's walk through the timeline that brought us to this moment. It really started back in June 2025. The U.S. launched a smaller-scale attack, Operation Midnight Hammer, aimed at Iran's nuclear sites. Fast forward to January 2026, and suddenly you have these massive anti-regime protests breaking out all over Iran, which really shook the government. And all of this is happening while peace talks are supposedly going on in Geneva. But then those talks collapse, just hours before the bombs started falling. It makes you wonder, right? A lot of people now think those talks were just a smokescreen, a way to buy time. Okay, so this is where we have to peel back the layers a bit. We've heard the official military objectives from the U.S., but there's a growing sense that what's really driving this conflict is politics. Powerful political motivations on all sides. And this really lays out that disconnect perfectly. Look, on one side, you've got the official military to-do list. Take out Iran's missile systems, their navy, their proxies, and of course, the nuclear program. But then you look at the other side, the political calculus. Could this be a way for President Trump to distract from problems at home and look strong? Absolutely. And for Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, facing an election and corruption allegations, well, a war could be a huge political win for him. And if there was any doubt about the ultimate goal, it's gone now. Shortly after the attack started, President Trump released a video speaking directly to the Iranian people. He said, "The time has come to topple the government. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance." I mean, it doesn't get much clearer than that. This is about regime change. Okay, so you might be thinking, why does a conflict halfway around the world matter to me? Well, because the global fallout was instant and it was severe. The very first thing that happened, your wallet felt it. Global oil prices shot up 20%, almost overnight. That's just how fast the markets reacted to all this instability. And honestly, that could be just the beginning. Experts are warning that if Iran manages to block the Strait of Hormuz, and you have to remember, this is a tiny choke point where a fifth of the entire world's oil supply passes through. If they block that, the price per barrel could skyrocket to $120. But this is about so much more than just oil. The ripple effects are massive. Dubai's airport, the busiest on the planet, is shut down. The airspace over the whole region, it's basically a no-fly zone, creating this giant logistical black hole. Global shipping is in chaos. And maybe the most dangerous part, other countries are starting to pick sides. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, the UK, France, they're all signaling they might get involved. This thing could escalate into a much, much wider war.
So as this whole crisis gets deeper, we're left with some really critical unanswered questions. And the answers to these are going to decide what happens next.
Question 1. After those direct hits on the leadership, is Iran's chain of command even intact? Can the government still effectively run its military? Because the answer to that changes everything about what the response will look like. Second, what about Iran's allies in the region, their so-called proxies? I'm talking about powerful groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon or the Houthis in Yemen. Can they actually escalate this and open up new fronts, or are they too weak from fighting other conflicts for years? And that leads us to the biggest question of all, the one everyone is afraid to ask. Is this going to stay a war fought from the air with missiles and drones? Or are we about to see a full-blown ground invasion of Iran? The answer to that question, well, it could define the rest of the century. Right now, the world is holding its breath. One thing is for sure, though. The events of the last few days have kicked off a chain reaction, and nobody can predict where it will end.